Good afternoon, everybody. This morning, Secretary Napolitano announced new actions my administration will take to mend our nation's immigration policy, to make it more fair, more efficient, and more just, specifically for certain young people, sometimes called dreamers. They are Americans in their heart, in their minds, in every single way but one. On paper, effective immediately, the Department of Homeland Security is taking steps to lift the shadow of deportation from these young people. Over the next few months, eligible individuals who do not present a risk to national security or public safety will be able to request temporary relief from deportation proceedings and apply for work authorization. Now, let's be clear, this is not amnesty, this is not immunity. This is not a path to citizenship. And the answer to your question, sir, and the next time I'd prefer you let me finish my statements before you ask that question, is this is the right thing to do for the American people. Baby, I didn't ask for an argument, I'm answering your question. It is the right thing to do for the American people, and here's why. I believe that it's the right thing to do because I've been with groups of young people who work so hard and speak with so much heart about what's best in America, even though I knew some of them must have lived under the fear of deportation. I know some have come forward at great risks to themselves and their futures in hopes it would spur the rest of us to live up to our own most cherished values.
So it was the second or third day of school that we were back from winter break, and the teacher sent us to the library to do some research on this project for our government class that he had us doing. And then I got a call, so I picked up, and it was a woman, and she asked if it was me, and I said, yeah, it's me. And she said that she was calling from Harvard, and then she paused, and I said, oh, and I was about to say, okay, are you missing my transcripts, or are you missing maybe a letter of recommendation, maybe somebody who's late? So the lady said, the admissions committee just reviewed your application, and we voted to send you a likely letter.
Not 10 minutes.
We're going to send you a letter in a couple of days, but basically we're saying this unofficially, but you're in. This was January 11th, and my mom said that was my lucky number, because every time she was in the kitchen or doing whatever, every time she would look up and the time would be 11:11, coincidentally. And since it was January 11th, she said it was close enough, and that's why I got in on that day.
Did you cry?
Yeah, I was crying.
3, 2, 1.
Birthday boy.
Max wants to make a sake bomb. No, I
Just say anything.
3.
Oh shit. What are you guys trying to do? Sake bomb?
Ich heiße Gary. My name is Gary. Or
Wie alt bist du?
ich bin 19 Jahre alt. Ich bin aus Guatemala. Und ich wohne in Atlanta, Georgia. Honestly, I didn't know what to think of it. I came here for Visitas and I really didn't know what to think of it. I'd never been in Boston before. It's a great place. It's like I thought it was gonna be awesome and everything, but it's even better than I could have thought it could have been. I really like it. I love it here. Yeah. The city itself is kind of nice, very nice actually. Everyone's cool, friendly. So I love it. I would want to go to Guatemala, although that's not always necessarily what happens or what's possible. Visit friends and family. But given the security situation in there, that's not always a given. But otherwise, I'd love to go to Europe for a study abroad. A country like Austria or Italy or Switzerland. I think that'd be pretty cool.
Are all the formulas in a book?
No, those two aren't. That's what I'm saying. And so the guy was like, well, I just give you the formula if you can do the problem and whatever. Also know the rule of 70.
70.
The rule of 70? 70 over X.
Okay, so that's how accounting works, very broadly speaking, for an individual or for a company. Now let's think about how a bank does it. First of all, someone who has intangibles that cannot be bought or sold might have a better financial position even if their balance sheet looks the same.
And so it's like this. It's crazy.
This is a lot looser than that, yeah.
Do y'all know what a mourning dove sounds like?
What?
A mourning dove.
Caw! Caw!
No.
What?
I don't know. I think it sounds like. That's what it sounds like.
Gonna take a freight train down at the station, Lord. I don't care where it goes. Gonna climb a mountain, the highest mountain. I jump off, nobody gonna know.
But there's two moments in my life where I almost dropped out just because my mom cleans houses and she's around. I was looking up on the internet stories about women who clean houses their whole life and chemicals just do shit to them. So I was like, I need to work. I need to I'm not even gonna be able to go to college. I'm just wasting this whole time. like good grades aren't gonna really do anything for me. So I was just gonna drop out and work, like mow lawns or construction like I did this summer.
Ain't never coming back. Ride me southbound, all the way to Georgia now. Till the train and run out of track. Can't you see? Oh, can't you see what that woman, Lord, she been doing to me? Can't you see? Can't you see what that woman, she been doing to me? Oh, Lord.
I just got accepted, and so I got a full ride here, and I have a job now, so I don't know, I send money home.
Oh, can't you see what that woman, Lord, she been doing to me? Keep on
So this is my elementary school, and this is the little park behind it. I grew up mostly around here, Hawthorne and Compton. It was pretty much evenly divided between here and there because, I mean, this block is basically where I went to school. My elementary school and my middle school was right there. And Compton, because even though we had moved out, we would always be going back there. When we went to church, it was to the church in Compton. When we went to my grandma's house, we went back to Compton. When my brother started trying to do karate, he went to Compton. So the earliest I can remember is when I was about 5, I want to say, or 4. Because when I started kindergarten, my mom had sat me down and told me, like, okay, well, look, here's the situation. We're immigrants from Mexico, you know that, but we're also undocumented immigrants. So that means we don't have papers. That means you have to keep it secret from all your friends, from your teachers. You can't trust anybody with this, or else the police will come and get you from the house.
Desde que estaba en el proceso de aplicar a la universidad, yo le hice la promesa de que si la aceptaban a la Universidad de Harvard, yo le iba a llevar hasta allá, porque en ese tiempo Leslie no tenía todavía 18 años y no tenía la facilidad de obtener el pasaporte para que pudiera viajar por avión con el pasaporte de México. Como era el verano cuando fue en agosto de ese tiempo, entonces no hubo ningún inconveniente más que manejar de un lado a otro del país. Pero fue algo bonito.
So I took my mom out to lunch when I told her that I had gotten in, but she was still asking me about the financial aid stuff. And because they kept asking for my dad's information, which I don't have since he doesn't live with us, it really delayed my application packet for a while. But then once I eventually got it in, I was at home and my mom had been doing this like facial like mask thing she does. I'm not quite sure what it is, but it's some beauty thing. And which it's kind of like hardens on your face so you could peel it off later. And so when I got the email saying, okay, we finally accepted all your documents and we've processed your information, you can now check your like My Harvard account and it'll have your financial aid like proposal package listed. So I checked it, and so it was like the solid confirmation that I had gotten a full ride. And so I told my mom, and she was really happy, but she was like, I'm really happy, but I can't move my face. And yeah, it just made that moment a lot more memorable. Yeah. So I came to this country when I was 8 months old with my mom, and it was because we're from Culiacan, Sinaloa, which is kind of like ground zero for the current like Mexican drug war and all the like narco violence. So she decided it wasn't safe for us anymore. We came driving, so my grandma went to Mexico and drove my mother and I to the United States. We came through Nogales in Arizona, and we lived in Arizona for a while until we moved to LA to be with my grandma. Fortunately, we didn't have that much trouble because my grandma was able to get us a visitor's visa for both my mother and I. I don't think my mom plans to move back to Mexico anytime soon, or probably ever, because of how bad it's gotten in our hometown, especially the district that she said that we lived in. And even though I have family in Mexico, like none of them really know me, and I'm not sure it would. And it would feel very strange to just like drop in on them like 20-something years later, like, hey, I'm the daughter of like Maria, like that kid who like went away when she was like barely born. Yeah, that's me. And I wouldn't want to go back. I feel like my future is here, and if it's not in the United States, I couldn't really see myself starting over in Mexico.
There is, for some countries, a wait that is so long that no date is given because it's out in the future so long. You could be waiting 20 years. If the line is 20 years long, what's the point?
To check the status of an application that you have submitted, or to report a problem with your application, press 1. For services and information for attorneys, see the... On September 13th, 2012, we received your I-821D, Consideration of Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals. We sent you a notice on Form I-797 that describes how we will process your pending case. Individuals may be considered for deferred action as a childhood arrival if they were under the age of 31 as of June 15, 2012, came to the United States before reaching his or her 16th birthday, have continuously resided in the United States since June 15, 2007, up to the present time, were present in the United States on June 15, 2012, and at the time of making his or her request for consideration of deferred action with USCIS, entered without inspection before June 15, 2012, or his or her lawful immigration status expired as of June 15, 2012, are currently in school, has graduated or obtained a certificate or completion from high school, has obtained a general education development certificate, or is an honorably discharged veteran of the Coast Guard or Armed Forces of the United States, have not been convicted of a felony, significant misdemeanor, 3 or more other misdemeanors, and does not otherwise pose a threat to national security or public safety. Individuals may begin to request consideration of deferred action for child childhood arrivals on August 15th, 2012.
Cuando nosotros venimos, llegamos con una visa de turistas. Y nos quedamos acá. Nos quedamos acá porque sabíamos que volver a nuestra tierra tenía un compromiso grande, aparte de que la situación no es buena en nuestros países, nos da temor. Pero yo quiero decirles esta vez que no nos confundan. No nos confundan porque somos humanos y queremos que nuestros hijos salgan adelante.
I just remember being inside the van that came here, and I remember, not a lot. Just I remember we lived in a really small. It was smaller than this. It was a small trailer down the other side of the city. We didn't have air conditioning or anything. I remember having to, like, they would put a big pot and fill up with hot water and then fill up the bathtub and kind of carry it every morning.
You had a cup that you had to pour it on.
Yeah.
On yourself. Yeah.
Yeah, with good times.
When I came up here and just to visit, and I saw that it was a better place, then I asked myself, what do I want for my family? And I said, well, here is better than there, so I think I want this. And we had the chance to come up here, and we did. And then I brought the family, and I said, come and see this country, it's so nice. And then my brothers-in-law told me that there was a way to get a job over here. And it was a real job with real money and all that.
How did you get the job?
And then I didn't go back. It was so good.
I didn't know any English. I remember in pre-K, this girl that knew like 3 English words was really cool because, and I remember I would come, this is kind of embarrassing, I've never said this. I would remember when before I get in the shower, like when I was getting dressed, I would look at myself in the mirror and like just say random words that would sound like English and just like pretend I knew English. I knew like 3 words.
Yo creo que son 3 cosas lo que influyó para que sean ellos estudiantes exitosos. Es la iglesia con sus líderes, es mi esposa que es muy tenaz, perseverante. Pero también otra cosa muy importante es su hermana, Cynthia Yasmin, la que está en UT, en el Honors Program. Es de Cynthia y esta es Angélica. She's still here in the high school.
I remember one day a pair of Mormon missionaries came and knocked in our old house. We used to live on the other side of Dickinson, and they invited us to church, and we actually didn't go, but they kept insisting. So one day we showed up, and everyone had a good experience. So we decided to come back the next Sunday, and we just kept coming back, and eventually we were baptized and kind of went through the processes.
Tengo limpiándole su casa 15 años.
Oh, 15 años. Oh, híjole, yo creía que era como 5 años. So this is the top 20 graduates of my sister's class, which is 1 year. She was 1 year ahead of me. What she is so. and she is wearing the gray T-shirt on the almost the last. She's right here. So do you remember more than I do, right? About everything.
Yeah, I remember coming. Like, I remember when we were driving, we drove away from the ranch where we lived, and then we came in a big van, and when we went through the border, they, like, checked us, and we all had to go out of the van, and, like, all the security people had to search everything, and I think you and Daniel were crying.
How are you paying for college now?
I got some scholarship. UT offered me a lot of scholarships, so UT offered me enough scholarships to pay my tuition for every year, for my 4 years. But so far, it's been pretty good. I haven't needed any money from my parents, so they're happy about that.
That's cool. That's crazy though. I would have no time to apply to any scholarships. I'm so glad I got into got a full scholarship, because that's insane. I can't even. Yeah.
These are very much school-related policies, as well as tied to funding that schools get from the federal government. So if they are getting certain kinds of funding from that, now probably what's happening with Harvard is that Harvard endowment is so large that they may not have to take a lot of federal assistance. I doubt they do. Undocumented are ineligible for almost all services. They're ineligible for most federal benefits.
People live regular lives, and if you go almost anywhere in this country, you will find undocumented people everywhere in all kinds of jobs and all kinds of situations. But the DREAM Act was designed to give legal status to a particular subset of the undocumented population. And there have been different versions of it over the years, but roughly speaking, it's people who have come here as young children, who have lived pretty exemplary lives. Most versions of the DREAM Act have not been open to people who have had any criminal records or anything like that. People who speak English, who have attended schools, who have done well in this country, and who, by most measures, you would say are Americans in every aspect, except, as I think the President himself even said at one point, except having the documentation to prove it. Now, the President's order was actually a much more limited thing than the DREAM Act. Really quite a limited benefit, objectively speaking. It just would say to people that for a short period of time, we, the government of the United States, will agree not to deport you.
I, Barack Hussein Obama, do solemnly swear.
I, Barack Hussein Obama, do solemnly swear.
Well done.
Our journey is not complete until we find a better way to welcome the striving, hopeful immigrants who still see America as a land of opportunity.
Hello, I'm Dario.
Hi. Oh, you have the letter here.
Yeah, the letter, please.
Here you go.
It's from my dean, and it's basically explaining that I'm going this summer to Mexico.
Yeah.
And that I need, or that it would be very beneficial to me if I could be granted advanced parole.
Advanced parole.
Yeah, so I could travel, leave the country for educational purposes. Right. So this is the evidence that I'm sending in with my application and my $400 and all this information about my identity, so the Department of Homeland Security or whatever, immigration,
right,
can rest easy,
right,
knowing that I'm not going to run drugs.
Exactly.
So now that I can work and I have an ID and I can get a license soon, I can travel.
Pero
quiero que, mira hijo, lo primordial que tu mamá y yo queremos es que no creemos que veas que ocupas trabajar, no lo veas eso como una prioridad. La prioridad tuya está primero que nada ponerte las pilas a tus estudios. No ocupas trabajar. Lo que tú ocupas de dinero, tú sabes que te lo podemos dar. ¿Ok?
I started driving when I was a freshman because there was this class called seminary for my church, and it started at 6 in the morning, so my dad never wanted to wake up to take me. So that's when he decided to teach me. I don't know, this is kind of embarrassing to say. I was driving down California Street, and the speed limit was 30 or something, and Cynthia was calling me, and she really needed to go somewhere. She was like, hurry up, where are you? Where'd you go? I think I went without permission or anything. And so I was speeding back, and there was a police officer right there. And I didn't see him until it was too late because it's completely dark, and you know how they hide and everything. When, I don't know, in Dickinson, I guess. I was right here, and I was like, I know my neighborhood way better than this cop does. And, like, he's turned around, like, he would have to make a U-turn on this very narrow street. And it'd be a really cool story to tell, like, if I could get away from a cop. And plus, but above all, it was that I'm undocumented. I have no idea what will happen to me or my family. Like, I've heard of students getting deported, like, their entire family, because, like, one kid screws up. So I had this whole entire fear, and, like, I mean, I had thought about it before. What would happen if I get pulled over? Because I'd driven for, like, years before that. But I think, like, when I just started, like, trying to get away from the police officer, I turned off my lights to make myself more or less visible, and so I just tried to run away, and I was just so scared. I think that was the lowest point, just, like, having all the pressures of being undocumented bound into one.
And that happened to be the most, ¿cómo se dice? The evil officer ever.
Oh yeah, he was really mean.
He was really mean.
Well, I mean, I understand that I try to, like, run away from him, but he was...
tried to act really bad cop, and he put the...
He, like, put his handcuffs on me
and
and left me, like, behind his car for, like, on the trunk of his car for a long time. It was just...
I'm gonna take you to jail, and you're gonna stay there forever, and all that thing. And Enrique was so scared, and then he had to go to court, and the officer didn't show up.
The officer didn't show up that day, and, like...
So he was clean again.
The judge had no case, and he was just like, you're free to go. And
he had learned the lesson in the worst way possible with that terrible officer. Maybe that officer knew what he was doing.
This is what it'll look like. So, I don't know if I want to put this in front of a camera, but...
Oh, okay, yeah, sure.
So valid for... yeah.
Good stuff to keep that safe.
Yeah. I signed it and then it smeared, so I was kind of pissed. Yeah, this is the last time I got rejected. Well, like, it's not rejected. It's just that I didn't have a document I needed. So I was applying for a learner's permit. But right here it says that your application has been rejected because you did not meet the requirement for... And it's like... I don't know, that looks like it says passport I-20. This guy is super messy handwriting. I have no idea what that says. But I just remember he said I need an I-20 form. So it's like a work or a... I don't know. This is a thing I had to go get. Like, it said where I lived and stuff. That I lived on Harvard campus.
Freshman Dean's office.
I'm gonna go see if I can apply for a license. I've gone like 3 times and each time they tell me I need a new document, but hopefully this time I have enough.
And I have here 2 letters from the Department of Homeland Security, U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services. Hopefully they have something to do with my advanced parole application. Hopefully they are letters letting me know that I've been granted advanced parole so I can travel.
My mom applied for citizenship through my grandma, so she applied as an adult daughter of a citizen. We applied in 1996. So it's been quite a while, but I mean, I've heard that 20 years is like the average for these sort of cases to go through.
Mine was turned in mid-September, so at the latest I'm waiting for it mid-March, and I haven't gotten any updates, so hopefully that'll come by soon.
Please stay on the line. We are now accessing the information for your case.
I'm here today because the time has come for common sense, comprehensive immigration reform. The time is now. Now's the time. Now's the time. They all came here knowing that what makes somebody an American is not just blood or birth, but allegiance to our founding principles and the faith in the idea that anyone from anywhere can write the next great chapter of our story. Remember that this is not just a debate about policy. It's about people and all those who share the same hopes and the same dreams.